The sacred site that's been blasted, it can never be made whole again because ancestors put those things in the ground with care and love and tradition and prayers. Those can never be regained again. I don't know how any of you sleep at night.
It's beyond egregious and repugnant to think that this administration, one that pushes for religious freedoms, is also violating the sanctity of the ancestral lands of indigenous people in our country.
When we put up a border between these tribal nations, we kind of always agreed that we would let them be able to move back and forth. And specifically, we also, according to our treaties, said that we would protect their native rights as well as their sacred sites. The site that they're particularly talking about right now, it's a site that is very well regarded within the TO Nation as a battle site, and the warriors are buried there, specifically TO warriors as well as Apache warriors. It'd be equivalent like us blowing up Arlington to put in a wall or to put in a road.
This wall will cut an impassable scar right through the heart of the best protected Sonoran Desert ecosystem on the planet, and it will stop wildlife migrations dead in their tracks.
Just another day in the absolutely beautiful and serene Arizona-Sonora borderlands. In a matter of weeks, we will most likely see all of this turned into a massive 30-foot tall concrete and steel bollard wall. Last week, the Trump administration confirmed that they are indeed blowing up a mountain in this national monument in wilderness lands through a sacred site. This entire area has been flattened by bulldozers. This wall will cut off all access to wildlife south of the border. It will kill wildlife. It will cause death. It's already destroying natural and cultural heritage.
It's a 30-foot high wall made up of concrete and steel bollards with tiny little gaps between the bollards. So this wall will stop the migration of all species that can't fly. And we have to think about the desert as this connected ecosystem. You know, nature does not stop at the border. It really will change the genetic history of this landscape. Every time I go, I film all of these ancient saguaro cactuses that have been bulldozed, toppled over. I film crews sucking up groundwater to mix concrete for the border wall. There are numerous archaeological sites, other grave sites, incredible resources that will be destroyed if this project continues. And I was there with a number of people from the Thanatham Nation. They just kneeled down and wept. You know, they see this blasting as something that is releasing spirits from the land, and it's being done with so much disrespect.
So they have called it a national emergency, and so they're just waiving all these requirements when obviously it's not a national emergency if you're taking your time building a wall.
Impacts from the pre-existing border fence will pale in comparison to the effects of the current administration's indiscriminate use of waivers. For context, the Bush administration exercised the waiver 4 times for 5 projects. The Obama administration did not exercise the waiver at all. The Trump administration, acting without congressional authorization for its border wall, has already exercised the waiver provision 15 times.
If the opportunity we have to amend the Real ID law, partly it's going to be to take away that waiver capability, or at least make the waiver capability even more stringent.
Two sites out of 4 that we visited have already been affected and disturbed.
It is a war crime for you to target cultural and religious sites. We talk about other nations and how they don't respect religious sites or religion in general. And then here, we basically don't apply that standard.
None of this is necessary. Even if a border-long barrier were an important goal, it could be completed without suspending all of our environmental and other protective laws, but it could not be completed on the administration's political timetable.
The damage that this administration is doing to this area is irreparable. It's irreparable, and you didn't even ask. Nobody asked permission of these people to do any of that.
We can have an argument about whether you need a border wall or not, but there's ways for us to enforce our borders, enforce our laws, without destroying sacred sites.
It's so clear to all of us on the border that this wall is nothing more than a re-election prop. It's a campaign stunt for Trump. And of course, it doesn't address any of the root causes of why people are coming here in the first place. I think people across the country need to realize that the border is an actual place. It's not just this rhetorical discussion that politicians have. There are real ecosystems, real communities, and really irreplaceable beauty here on the border.